Hey everybody, I'm trying to get back into making videos more regularly, so excuse me if I'm a little rusty. But my name is Reviews and I'm here to Robert stuff.
That's me!
It occurs to me that sometimes I actually forget to review stuff that I've watched. Like I'd seen this movie in the theaters and I just plumb forgot to tell you guys if you should go and see it. But it's out of the theaters now, so that time has just passed. Oh, it came out on DVD, so now I can tell you if you should rent it. Spoiler alert, I purchased it. Speaking of spoilers, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And he's dating fine-ass Gwen Stacy, but he feels like he should break up with her because her ghost dad keeps popping up in his imagination. Nope, wouldn't stop me. Anyway, Spider-Man saves the life of this crazy over-the-top loser guy named Max Dillon, but does not save him from falling into a tank full of electric eels and turning into Electro. He also doesn't save Norman Osborn from succumbing to some crazy make-you-look-like-a-goblin disease, which makes his son and Peter's childhood friend Harry really sad. Well, actually, he seems more bummed about the fact that he also has goblinitis. Well, I'm sure that'll work out perfectly fine for him. And that's good because Spider-Man's already dealing with Electro. And he'll be able to rest easy knowing that the only thing he has to worry about is one supervillain. And erectile dysfunction caused by Dennis Leary. Most of my problems with this movie were the same ones I had with its predecessor. That the dialogue is just awful. If I wanted to watch stuttering, painful, and shitty dialogue, there are tons of Kristen Stewart movies out there for me to watch. But I'm still relatively happy with my life, so I'm not going to do that. And at least in those situations, it's what I've come to expect from Kristen Stewart, but not Spider-Man. Spider-Man has always cracked jokes while fighting bad guys. It's his thing. So basically, you shouldn't even try to do Spider-Man unless you can write a good joke. Let me give you an example of one of the earlier attempts at humor in this movie.
Knock, knock. Mr. Criminal. Hey, my name is Spider-Man. You can call me Webhead. You can call me Amazing. Just don't call me late for dinner. You get it?
You keep making jokes like that, and I'm not going to come calling at all. But maybe they have an excuse for that joke. Maybe the writers just don't know the Spider-Man character well enough to know that he's supposed to be funny. They certainly didn't seem like they understood the character when they had Gwen Stacy explain magnetism to science genius Peter Parker.
Thank you, Gwen Stacy.
Look, I get it. Girl power or whatever. But do you expect me to believe that this dude can invent artificial webs and a device to shoot them out of his wrist with precision, and he doesn't understand how magnets work? My refrigerator understands how magnets work. But the story wasn't all bad. It was mostly solid besides the shitty dialogue, and there was one part of the story that actually impressed me. When I found out Gwen Stacy was going to be a character in these movies, I became really curious about how they were going to handle the only plot line that I know that she's involved in. I mean, comic book fans know how they handled it, but this is Emma Stone. And comic book movies don't like to get rid of one of the big names in their movies. Plus, that plot line was really controversial when it happened in the comic books, and comic book movies tend to err on the side of caution. And in this movie, they did a really good job of making me wonder if they would or wouldn't deal with it in the same way, and I approve of the decision that they made. For a while in this movie, I was thinking I didn't like the characters because of the actors, but then I realized they're just saying words someone else wrote. They're portraying characters misinterpreted by someone else. I mean, it's probably not Andrew Garfield's fault that someone made the character of Peter Parker the cool kid at school at graduation, high-fiving the dean, kissing the valedictorian, getting cheered by the entire school. That's not the Peter Parker that I know. The Peter Parker I know is nerdy, socially awkward, and mostly doesn't do well with the ladies. That's the Peter Parker that I know. That's the Peter Parker that I somewhat closely resemble. Emma Stone also did a good job, but I did not understand the character's choice to break up with Peter. Why? Because the dude respects your recently deceased father a little bit too much for your liking? Isn't that a good thing? Maybe you should just respect that about him and try to work through it with him. And then there's the bad guys. I thought Jamie Foxx was a little bit over the top with the nerdiness of the Max Dillon character, but he did good once he became Electro. But I wasn't really a fan of the electrical effect that they did with his voice. I mean, I understand their reasoning, he's made out of electricity now, but it also kind of just sounded like he was either gargling, speaking through a fan, or constantly burping.
You're too late, Spider-Man.
Wow. Excuse me. I just spit all over my floor. But there were also times with the Electro character that I just questioned his reasoning. I mean, he seemed pretty upset in that last battle with Spider-Man, but he still found the time to goof off and perform a dubstep version of Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Oh boy.
I hate this song.
And then there's the Goblin. Now, I like Dane DeHaan, but I'm not really sure if I only like him because he was in a Metallica movie or not. What I do know is that I do not like how he looked as the Goblin. He just looks goofy and icky. Hell, he was far more intimidating in this movie before they put makeup on him. It's also worth mentioning that this movie completely wasted Paul Giamatti. If I remember correctly, the trailers and teasers for this movie made him look like he was going to be a much bigger part of it. And they wasted a lot of money on some sweet CG and hired someone as good as Paul Giamatti, and he was in the movie for a combined 10 minutes? So ultimately, what am I saying about The Amazing Spider-Man 2? It's fine. The story was a pretty basic structure, and the dialogue left a lot to be desired. But it wrapped up really strong, and it was a pretty entertaining ride throughout. And the actors all did a pretty good job of portraying characters that just weren't written that well. And of course, I purchased the movie, but that's only because, and I don't know if you can make this out, but there's a little Marvel logo on here, and that's pretty much all it takes for me. But I can also say that I don't really regret the purchase. It's at least worth a rental. You probably won't feel like you wasted too much of your time. Speaking of which, thank you for wasting your time with me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my videos, and if there's anything you'd like me to review, don't forget to leave it in the comments below or on my Facebook fan page. And that's all for now. My name is Robert, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 has just been reviewed. Flip!